Their biggest gripe is that they're not able to, put Google up on a stake and nail them to the stake, draw blood, fine them, win the fines, get the billions of dollars. I think they want more money out of these companies.
You're not actually seeing these companies change their behavior in a meaningful way that makes you think they're afraid of more fines. Basically, what is it like? Come at me, bro, is kind of their attitude.
They're like literally looking at the opportunity and the pain point right in the face. And then they say, oh, yeah, you restrict supply. Oh, but let me go back to the consumer. EU competition chief. This is Miss Vestager. We've spoken about Miss Vestager many times. Struggles to tame, quote, the dark side of big tech despite record fines. Okay. I don't know how she has the gall to call these companies the dark side.
Well, I think the gist of what she's saying here is that what they've done isn't working and it hasn't created any effective change in the market power and dominance of these companies. She's basically like, well, they're entrenched monopolies. We find them, but it didn't really do anything. This
is a hoot. I mean, you got to read some of this stuff. Oh God. So when they find Android, we've covered this in 2017, like right. $2 or $2.7 billion for forcing people to use Google apps when you had an Android phone. So in particular, Google Chrome as your browser. Oh, who got in trouble for that? Microsoft 20 years before. So, and we've spoken about that this was the right way to focus regulation, which was that when you restrict the supply side, when you constrain the supply side, that is where platforms can get into trouble. And that's an appropriate area for government to come in. Now, she's grumpy because what Google did is they introduced a preference menu, which offers users a choice of different browsers. And then they were also letting other competitive browsers pay for what position.
Right. They treated it like an auction, basically.
Yes, like a Google ad,
right?
Which it kind of is. But she did not like this. One of the very impressive competencies of Google as a company is their competence of making people make choices. Asked if she meant that Google would drive users towards its own product, she replied, "This is why it'll be very interesting to see how will such a menu of different options, how would that actually work?" Their biggest gripe is that they're not able to, put Google up on a stake and nail them to the stake, draw blood, fine them, win the fines, get the billions of dollars. I think they want more money out of these companies. I think that's how she's evaluated. I think her success is pretty much purely evaluated on how much money she wrings out of these companies.
Well, I think what she's saying here is a little bit more than that, which is basically the fines. Sure, they hurt in the sense that billions of dollars is never not going to be noticed, but you're not actually seeing these companies change their behavior in a meaningful way that makes you think they're afraid of more fines. They're complying with the rules in a minimal sense, and not from her point of view, I would say, the spirit of the rules, so that they're figuring ways around these and basically, what is it like? Come at me, bro, is kind of their attitude.
I don't know. I think she's naive. I don't think she really understands. I don't think she's really taken, again, what we talk about on the show to heart, in the sense that you got to look at the supply side of things, right?
So you've got to look at the way they look, and you've seen this in all the things they put out on looking at the supply side. They also look at the supply side through the lens of impact on end customers.
Yeah,
they're not looking at the supply side as a customer group,
yes,
and the impact on the supply side directly as important, because basically if you look at a platform, two customer groups, consumers, producers. The producers are a customer group. They're looking at through the traditional linear lens the same way they would a Walmart, for example, and saying, oh, is Walmart's abusing their suppliers? Does that affect the prices and choices that end customers have? Which is the wrong way to look at this. It's producers are a customer group. What they're doing directly impacts the prices they charge producers, which they're gouging in many places. And we need to attack that directly, not indirectly, because it affects consumers.
Yeah, I know. They keep trying to go back to the consumer. They're like literally looking at the opportunity and the pain point right in the face, and then they say, "Oh yeah, you restrict supply." Oh, but let me go back to the consumer. They just can't get away from the consumer.
Right.
She can't appreciate the role that suppliers are customers. And that's all you got to do. Don't worry about the consumer. And you know what? The consumer is not harmed. I think that's the thing that she's like.
Right. That's why none of these things really stick
thorn in her
at
side.
the end of the day.
Yeah, it's the consumer doesn't care, Miss Vestager. You want to know who cares? The suppliers. It's the other search browsers that now have a shot. It's the other apps and websites that Google is continuously cramming down, forcing more ads, putting their own results above them on search. Why don't you look at that? Oh, no, because they need to look at the consumer. And then they give her another job. I mean, you can't make this up. So in addition to policing competition, Ms. Vestager has been given a new role as European Commission, wait for it, Executive Vice President for Digital, with a mission to boost technology in the region. They're asking the lady that's supposed to destroy the big tech monopolies to figure out how to go promote new technologies in the region. This is the lady who created GDPR, which is such a downer in terms of promoting competition in the region.
Right.
That is our next article.
It actually entrenched Google and Facebook because they complied easily. Lots of other businesses couldn't and died. And also, by the way, a lot of what it does is affect what you can do with cookies and that kind of stuff where people are tracking third-party tracking service basically across the web.
Yep.
But that's not a big issue for Google and Facebook because their main source of serving ads is the stuff you do on Google or on Facebook, which now nobody else can get access to.
Yep. We've said it before. Google and Facebook should be kissing the feet of Miss Vestager because she's actually, handed them basically the keys to the kingdom for digital advertising in Europe. And this article, this was just this week, Google enhances privacy and perhaps itself at the same time. It basically is saying that GDPR and privacy regulation helps large tech monopolies. It's almost as if they've been listening to our show, Nick. Maybe
they like it so much they figured they'd do a little more themselves.
Yeah, it's just, it's so predictable, this stuff. But you'd think the people in charge who get paid, I don't know. I wonder what Miss Vestager's salary is. How much do you make? I guess $3 million. That's my guess.
That feels high.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see.
I think you overestimate the salaries of European elected officials.
Oh, I hope I am. I am.
But I think the point is that I would guess 400,000 euros.
Okay, that's the range. Okay,
but we will see.
It's like Nick's faith in the government and then my faith in the government. So let's see where.
Well, I think you can make the argument that even if it were 400,000, the person who is in that role should probably make a lot more than that because the people they're regulating make billions of dollars, and that would help you attract the right talent to actually do it, which is another challenge you've run into in other industries like financial regulation, where you make a heck of a lot more money in the industry than regulating, and you have this revolving door kind of issue that comes up there. So you're
saying she's actually not that good because we should get someone that's paid more. I'm going to find the salary.
I'm not going to go that far, but I am saying the kind of talent and people that understand this stuff on a deep issue, the kind of people that actually understand platforms, probably aren't taking that job for $400,000 a year.
Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.